And the thing I want you to see is not only do we want to be a supplier of choice, but be the place where people want to work. You work a third of your life, you sleep a third of your life, and then you have a third of your life for everything else. So what you do, you should have a passion for. And the place where you work should recognize and honor that passion. And that's why that's part of our mission. So, and this is just going into the fact that where we're going with technology, you're going to touch it no matter what you do anymore in life. Just that's the way it is. And we know because of globalization, virtual office, all of that, we have to support it. And so that's what I have to share, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Joy. Next person who's going to be speaking is Wister Kay, and she is with the state of Washington in the Trade and Economic Development area.
Hi, I'm Wister. My last name is Kay. I must spend most of my day explaining that to everyone. I don't have a PowerPoint, but we were given pretty elaborate notes on the things we could talk about for 10 minutes, and I'm a talker, so I have written down some guidance to myself so that I don't lose track of the time and try to cover, to the best of my ability, some of the things we were asked to address. So I'm going to talk about three things. First, I'm going to tell you what I do for work. Someone pointed out to me that my bio, which is, I guess, posted on the website, tells what I've done, but it doesn't tell what I do. So I'm going to explain my job, and then I'm going to tell you how I got to this job. And then I'm going to wrap up with some pointers for you on what you might do now to move forward. I guess call it advice or just call it a perspective that I have based on my own personal experience. So first of all, my job. I work for the state of Washington. It is a government job. I've been doing it for 3 years. And I work for an agency known as CTED. That acronym stands for Community, Trade, and Economic Development. And that agency is housed in Olympia. 300 people are employed in CTED. And the director of our agency is one of the cabinet members of the governor's cabinet. And it has 6 different divisions, and they're very, very different from one another. It's quite diverse. The community side of our agency addresses a lot of community needs, such as housing, and advocates for victims of crime and all kinds of assorted things. And there's a spectrum of services that CTED offers that are community-based. But at the other end of the spectrum is economic development. And I'm in the International Trade Division, which is certainly part of economic development. What we do in the trade office is help companies in our state diversify themselves by export sales. Because companies can broaden their company revenue base through sales beyond their immediate community to other states, domestic sales. But what's important is that they also take a look at their international business opportunities. Washington State is one of the most trade-dependent states in the nation. 1 in 3 jobs in our state is trade-dependent. And that's why our state legislature continues to support the trade office. And right now there's a big movement in place called the priorities of government. In some states it's known as the price of government. But we're very focused these days on identifying the most important roles and responsibilities that we have in the state government to spend the taxpayer dollars wisely to provide the services most needed by our citizens. So one of those priorities of government is economic development, growing the businesses in our state. And I'm in the International Trade Division. So 14 of us are employed in that division, and of those 14, 7 of us have the position of Business Development Manager. So I'm one of those. And each of us has an industry sector to support. And all this information, by the way, is on our website. So if you're madly taking notes, by all means, you can also look at our website, which is www.exportwashington.com. And you'll see some great advice on getting into international trade and who we are and how our sectors are assigned. The industry that I support is software and telecommunications. So my day-to-day work is meeting with software companies, by and large, or companies in the telecom industry, Typically, I meet with a vice president of business development or a CEO, and we take a look at their marketing strategy and where they are in the process of growing their business. Because our agency actually provides a menu of services that can help companies at the very early stage of international business development. Market research is an example. We also help companies who may already be well established here and now they're ready to expand overseas. They already know what markets they want to go into, and they're ready to find partners. So we do a lot of work in the partner search area. And then at the other end of the spectrum, companies who may already have a foreign office or a representative or a distributor overseas and they want more sales, we have various marketing and sales programs to help them grow their business. So when I meet with a software company, that's the first thing I do. Understand what product category they fall into, understand where they are in their marketing process in terms of growing their business, and then identify areas in which our state trade offices might support them. Now, the world is a very big place, and this state has 6 overseas offices. So where we focus our energies, we're very strategically focused not only on the industries assigned to us based on export sales history, but also on the markets where historically Washington State has had a lot of good trade success. So we have 6 overseas offices. 4 are in Asia. Those are Japan, Taiwan, Korea, and China. And we now have a new trade representative in Mexico, so that's a new market that we've opened as far as having someone on the ground ready to serve Washington businesses. And our Europe trade office has been in Paris, in France, for the past 10 years, undoubtedly influenced quite a bit by the aerospace industry, but most recently, the Paris office now is focused on tourism development. So they're focused on attracting French tourists to our state, and we have signed a new trade representative in Frankfurt, Germany. So those are our 6 offices, and those are the places where I have a trade representative, my counterpart, who will deliver on the services that that my client companies are asking for. So that's an overview of what I do. Let me give you a specific example. There's a company called Ultraback. They're a small software company in Bellevue. They create a backup software program product. They've been around since the 80s. They've had to reinvent themselves a few times and maybe even, I think, relabel themselves. I don't remember their former company name. They sell worldwide through resellers. That's their distribution channel. And they're a small operation, so they're always hunting for countries where their product has a business opportunity. And they had their product localized into Japanese through a partner. A Japanese company had done that for them. But that partnership had gotten a little quiet. Sales in Japan had dropped off, and that was because their product needed to be upgraded. Each time a new version of a software comes out, it has to be upgraded in the local language too. Well, it hadn't happened in Japanese, and so gradually sales fell off, and that was a point in which they had to make a decision. And their decision was to find a new partner. They had been going through a trading company, and they felt that maybe that was not their strongest way to sell into the market. They wanted a new kind of partnership. So that was one thing that we helped them do, is look at their partners options and help them identify potential partners. They also decided that they really should be responsible for their own product rather than relying on the partner to do it. So I helped them find localization resources here in Washington State. We've got a lot of people in the state who speak many languages and can work in many languages. And they started localizing the product in its current version into Japanese. So in fact, they were relaunching that product. And then they hired someone locally as a consultant, but on a regular basis, in other words, on a monthly contract, who speaks Japanese and travels to Japan regularly. So now they were bringing in some in-house resources that they would be able to, that would help them get a stronger foothold in Japan. So that was about 2 years ago. They now have 14 partners in Japan. They have participated in 2 of the programs that I've done in Japan. One was a governor's trade mission, where we had an IT showcase where I recruited companies and the governor introduced them, and each company presented, and the room was full of Japanese CIOs and various kinds of companies that are the middle players helping to sell software into the Japanese market. A year later, they participated in a trade show in Tokyo that I took a group of software companies from our state to. And I'm about to go again in February. So that's what I do. I do international sales. You might